And we are live. Welcome back to Takes by Fans. We got a great show for you today. As always, we are live every single day at noon Eastern. If you want to watch live, head over to twitch.tv/takesbyfans. If you want to watch but not live, head over to our YouTube channel, Takes by Fans. We post all of our shows and clips of the show there on a daily basis. And if you just want to listen, we are on podcasting apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. So however you want to watch or listen, we've got you covered multiple ways. Alrighty, folks, are y'all gosh dang ready? Because I'm gosh dang ready. We are now 2 hours away from kickoff. I mean, folks, we finally have made it officially. Kickoff day, Sunday, 1s, 4s, late game tomorrow, Monday. I mean, we are really in the thick of it now, folks. Get ready to be inside the thick of the NFL season that is going to be kicking off today, 1 o'clock. Gonna be great. So today on the show, we're just gonna give our final last thoughts, opinions, say whatever we want to say, get it on the record right before the game start. Now, we are going a little bit earlier today, but from Sundays, from here on out, we are going to be doing our regular time of noon Eastern all the way up to 1. We are still only doing an hour today, 11 to 12, just covering everything. So let's see who's in and out. Let's talk some football. Let's see if our picks, if the lines have changed, should we be switching, and our last final thoughts on everything that is going to be happening today. So let's just jump right into it. And we got a couple of stories I want to just go over quickly. And this is the first one. And, once again, we never really put that much stake into teams cutting players based on vaccination status solely, or having it be a really kind of a major deciding factor. Because, you can still get COVID at, being vaccinated, and you could still potentially miss time. I really don't think that these NFL coaches are putting that much stake. Is it going to play, a certain part in the cuts? I think maybe if, everything is lining up between two players vaxxed, maybe the final deciding factor, if they're truly both even in literally everything, maybe the vaccine is the final determining, but I don't think it's that much playing that huge of a role, especially in that Cam Newton cut. Cam Newton was like, no, I don't think the vaccination, me not being vaccinated, hurt me at all. I think it played a little bit of a part, but I don't think that was like the end-all, be-all, or main reason. We had Bill Belichick come out and say that, yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, vaccination status doesn't really play that role. And then we had Urban Meyer say, yeah, we are going to be making the decision based on vaccination status. But then we get this right here. Numbers show Jaguars did not favor vaccinated players in roster cuts. Now, the data may be skewed, so I want to go into these numbers and just read them quickly. Just because it could be skewed, because the majority of NFL teams, players, coaches, personnel, organization, they are, mostly vaccinated. I mean, we're hearing stories every day of teams achieving 100%, trying to achieve, I think, like 85% was like the number that really everybody's trying to at least achieve. And like everyone's just around there. So yeah, obviously, most of the players that are cut are going to be vaccinated because the majority of the players are vaccinated. But let's see what they're saying here in this article quickly, and see what was going on with the Jaguars cuts. So here we go. Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer made headlines following cut down day, saying he considered a player's vaccination status while making a decision. That led to the NFL Players Association to open an investigation into Meyer's comments. However, according to sources informed of the situation, Meyer's actions on the day teams established their initial 53-man rosters do not warrant the investigation going further based on the numbers. Of the 24 players who were released, 23 were fully vaccinated, a source said. Just one was unvaccinated. In fact, the Jaguars are actually the 5th most unvaccinated team in the NFL, with 11 on their roster. While everyone involved would hope that the team would eventually have more players who are vaccinated, those numbers do appear to show there was no preference given to players who are fully vaccinated. The league did not comment on the investigation, and neither did the NFL Players Association. After the NFL Players Association opened an investigation, the Jaguars put out a statement, we've talked about that, saying 0 players were released because of their vaccination status. status, but that, quote, availability is one of the many factors taken into account when making roster decisions. So, yeah, exactly that. No team is just being like, well, you're unvaxxed, so, you got to get off the team. If you can't play the game of football and you're vaccinated, that's not going to save you. You're still eligible to be cut. So, now that, the final cut is over, but, if players were on the bubble and thinking, hey, if I get the vaccine, I could stay, even though I'm not the greatest. That's not the case here in Jacksonville. So, didn't really seem like any team really was like, oh, you're unvaccinated, get off the team, anything like that. Of the 24 players released, 23 were fully vaccinated, and the Jaguars still have 11 unvaccinated players on the roster. So, just a little update on a narrative that was playing out in the national media. We talked about it, but we didn't give it that much credit. And now these numbers just kind of, prove us right and kind of back up, what we've been saying, for the last couple of weeks here. So we'll take it. So Jaguars, Urban Meyer did not solely go off of vaccination status as they were making their final cuts. All right, now let's talk about DeShaun Watson here. Houston Texans have asked teams for a combination of 6 players or draft picks in a potential DeShaun Watson trade. So that's the new narrative. Now, we don't know if this is old information or new information. I mean, we've, talked about DeShaun Watson maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago with that old information being brought right back into the spotlight. I forgot who it was. It wasn't anybody big. It wasn't an Adam Schefter or an Ian Rappaport, but somebody else was like, hey, DeShaun Watson, the Dolphins are interested, and the Panthers are interested and all that. And it was like, no, they were just rehashing the story at the beginning of the offseason when some teams were maybe a little interested in DeShaun Watson, because why wouldn't you be? So according to Adam Schefter, now that's just kind of six things overall, 6 players or picks, combination, mix and match, first round, second round, some players. So the Texans are still holding firm on trading DeShaun Watson. And, I don't think this is going to be a big distraction. I know we were kind of, touching on it yesterday on the show. Like, I don't think, with DeShaun Watson here with the Texans, I really think the Texans are truly separating themselves from the entire DeShaun Watson story. And, the DeShaun Watson information and the Texans information and just, the narratives and what people are saying about him, I truly think they are separate. So this Texans team, I know that we've kind of been, kind of clowning them as a whole this offseason, but watch out for the Texans, folks. They could really be really good this season if Tyrod Taylor is really going to kind of, return to form, hopefully. Didn't have that chance to really prove himself with the Chargers, but now, he's the main man here. No chance at him being replaced, but potentially if, his team, his own doctors, re-injure him again, that's a concern. But just pure talent-wise, he's definitely the best quarterback on this roster who is eligible to play. We know DeShaun Watson is not eligible to play for this Texans team. They're like, you don't want to be here? That's fine, but you're not going to play for us, and you're still under contract, and you're not leaving here, on, nickels on the dollar. You're not doing that. So you'll be on our team. You'll be away from us. We won't really talk about you. The teams know what we want, and if we don't get it, that's fine. We'll wait the 5 years that you still have left on this deal, and we'll let you walk after 5 seasons. That's no big deal to us. We've got no problem because your value is not going to be anything great 5 years removed from playing in this league. So yeah, we've got no problem. You don't have to play for us. That's fine. This is kind of like what the Packers could have done. Oh, Aaron Rodgers didn't want to be here. Well, you're still under contract, so you're not going to play for us. You're away from the team, and we're just going to go ahead with Jordan Love. So, Aaron Rodgers, you're lucky that you kind of lucked out, and that you didn't have any really kind of sexual assault allegations against you, or you would have been, on the bench there in Green Bay this entire season. So watch out for the Texans. If everything comes together, this new head coach can kind of, undo all the harm that Bill O'Brien has put upon this Texans organization for how many years was he there? 6 years, 5-6 years? I mean, geez Louise. So we'll see how this Texans team overall with their new additions there and all that taking over this season. We'll see if they can put the building blocks in place needed to be consistent and competitive this year. But I really love what the Texans are really doing here, separating the Texans and DeShaun Watson, separating the stories, separating the narrative. So when you talk about DeShaun Watson, you're not really talking about the Texans team overall. Texans, nobody's talked about the Texans, folks, the team of the Texans. Everyone's still focusing on the DeShaun Watson side. So, I mean, the Texans are kind of in a great place. They could be huge huge underdogs and feed off of that momentum of nobody talking about them and rise and play real solid. Or, if they're trash, nobody had any expectations, so they're off the hook in that regard as well. So I truly think the Texans are in a prime position to start this season. We'll see if Tyrod Taylor can kind of, take this team and advance them a little bit forward, be competitive, move the ball, score some points, and not get blown out every single game. And that's really what it's going to come down to for this Texans team. Can the coaching staff, can Tyrod Taylor take this Texans team and elevate it to, a competitive team in this league? So absolutely love that, but it still seems like the Texans are still adamant on getting a big payday here for DeShaun Watson. So let's just quickly read this article very quickly. We can go through it quickly and just see, do we get any new information, or is it all just the rehash, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks? That's the done deal. Okay, so here we go. The Houston Texans sought a package of 6 players and NFL draft picks from teams interested in trading for star quarterback DeShaun Watson this summer, league sources told ESPN. Whether the package consisted of 1 player and 5 draft picks or 2 players and 4 draft picks, the Texans were unwilling to budge from their trade price from Watson, who remains on their roster even though he will not be active for the Sunday's season opener against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Texans do not plan to play Watson at all this season, but sources around the league believe that Houston's general manager Nick Caserio will not trade the 3-time Pro Bowler for anything less than 6 combined players and picks. So that's the new net asking price, 6 combined players and picks. Sources told ESPN that no team is willing to meet Caserio's asking price without attaching conditions to the picks because of the ongoing investigations by the FBI, Houston Police Department, and NFL into Watson, who faces 22 active civil lawsuits with the allegations of sexual assault and inappropriate behavior. So that is the new compensation, folks. Six things. 6 players, draft picks combined, first, second rounds, I'm assuming only, with some players in there as well. So far, no team has met that price. Nick Caserio, the general manager, is still not budging, and they have no problem not playing DeShaun Watson this season. So I think the general manager is handling it very well, keeping the two narratives separate from each other, DeShaun Watson and the team overall. And, we'll see if DeShaun Watson, any team, takes a risk. Like we said, at 3 first-round draft picks, we cannot do this deal. We would not do this deal. But 1 draft picks, if I can give away 1 first-round draft pick, maybe 2 seconds, and then I only have to kind of, scrounge together 3 not great players that I want to send away, but 3 decent players, I might be able to trade for them maybe later in the season when, still nobody is interested. So I'll see. We'll see if DeShaun Watson gets traded here, but the price is still pretty high, and nobody's been budging yet. All right, next story up here, Jalen Ramsey, and we're going to get, an interesting week 1 matchup here, Rams-Bears. It's going to be a great game. Unfortunately, Andy Dalton's out on the field, but, we get to see Matt Stafford and Jalen Ramsey again. Jalen Ramsey is kind of highly regarded as the number 1 cornerback in the league right now. He's kind of approaching, how many seasons of greatness do we have back-to-back by Jalen Ramsey? Once again, remember, we're kind of going along with this, narrative of, hey, great players, have 4 great back-to-back-to-back seasons. They have that 4-year stretched seasons, and then they kind of go flat and kind of fade into oblivion a little bit. Or if they're very, very, very great, they can still kind of be great after 4 years and maybe have another great 4-year stretch. We compare players. We've seen it a lot here. One of the most notable ones is probably Richard Sherman with that Legion of Boom days, highly regarded as the best cornerback in the league, had a nice 4-year stretch in Seattle, and then, just kind of, not top 3, not top 5 at his position anymore, maybe top 10 at the case. So let's see what we've got here by Jalen Ramsey quickly. I want to say he's kind of going into his 3rd, potentially his 4th great season. So let's see what we got here by Jalen Ramsey. So here we go. He's been in the league 6 years. 2020, obviously a really great season for him. 2019, once he kind of got to the Rams, was a good season. So yeah, kind of, 2nd, kind of 3rd great season, maybe going into his 3rd, his 4th. What do we got? 3 interceptions in 2018, pretty solid right there. 13 pass defenses. Man, oh man, that's real good. What do we got? Quarterback hits. He get in the sack game. He's not a sacking corner, unfortunate. But yeah, I would probably say, Jalen Ramsey's going into maybe, great year 3, great year 4. So we'll see if he can keep up this level of play as kind of the number 1 corner and do all of his things here. But that's not the reason why we're talking about him today. This is the reason why we're talking about him, because a little bit of back and forth going on here with the Bears fans, with their wide receiver Darnell Mooney, who was a rookie last season going into his second year. So Jalen Ramsey on Bears fans trolling him about Darnell Mooney's double move against him last season. Jalen Ramsey says this: "Can't wait till week 1 so all these lame ass Bears fans can shut the fuck up about they number 2 wide receiver." So Jalen Ramsey doesn't want anybody trolling him and being nonsensical about him, because this is a little nonsensical. Before we get into this play, last year, Rams, Bears, let's see what Jalen Ramsey did. So here we go. We're at playerprofiler.com. Jalen Ramsey against Allen Robinson, who is their number 1 wide receiver, and we know Allen Robinson's really gosh dang good. He covered him very well, 4 of 6 for only 35 yards allowed. That's a lock up there on Allen Robinson, and he's real gosh dang good. Their number 1 wide receiver. Now, so Allen Robinson only had 35 yards against Jalen Ramsey. And then when we're talking about what Darnell Mooney did in that game, he didn't do anything either in that game against the Rams last season. He only had 3 receptions for 40 yards, and Jalen Ramsey wasn't covering him the majority of the game. But what all the Bears fans are talking about is this double move that Jalen Ramsey truly got destroyed on come last season. And the Bears fans, this is what they keep bringing up. Hey, yeah, Darnell Mooney only had 40 yards, but when you were on him, he had the double move. It's unfortunate it wasn't a completed pass. It was overthrown. Mitch Trubisky not being great. Or was this may have been Nick Foles at the time, actually. What do we got this? What was this? Week 7. Yeah, I think this was Nick Foles. Let's double check. Yeah, it was Nick Foles. I don't want to, I'm not going to knock Mitch Trubisky when we don't have to. And I'll not knock Nick Foles. I've got no problem with that. So, unfortunately, Nick Foles threw the overthrew this ball here. But let's watch this route right here. Darnell Mooney, the double move, absolutely destroying him. I mean, that's 5 yards of separation right there that he was able to create on the double move right there. So, Jalen Ramsey, he's preparing for the double move. He's preparing for Darnell Mooney. He's preparing for Allen Robinson, and he's definitely preparing for Andy Dalton, who he knows he could definitely take advantage of and use and abuse and, force him into bad throws and make him regret it later. So, if I'm Andy Dalton, I'm a little upset at these Bears fans getting Jalen Ramsey, hyped up and ready to rock and, unwanted extra motivation for Jalen Ramsey out there. So, Andy Dalton's going to be the one that's going to have to live up to the hype here, rise to the occasion to, get Darnell Mooney open, to not throw picks by Jalen Ramsey, because Jalen Ramsey heard y'all talking, and he's ready to put an end to it. He's ready to what are y'all talking about? Don't disrespect me by telling me that Darnell Mooney's going to get the better of me. Let's relax. The man is going into his second year. Do not disrespect Jalen Ramsey. So the man is ready for week 1, and he's ready to shut down everybody and everything that they throw at him, and they're at home. And the Bears have Andy Dalton, so I think I'm going to bet on Jalen Ramsey in this matchup here this week, folks. Alrighty, now let's talk about some who's in and who's out. Now that we know everything's official, no COVID outs, no COVID suspensions, no COVID restrictions, no COVID postponements of games. We are all good for week 1, so thank goodness there. But let's talk about who's in and out for week 1 today. So here we go. Chiefs safety Tyrann Mathieu has been activated. He was on the COVID-19 list this week, but he is good to go. We were talking about it yesterday on the show. He had to return 2 negative COVID tests by 4 o'clock yesterday, and that's exactly what happened. Tyrann Mathieu, the safety for the Chiefs, is good to go. Thank goodness. Love seeing him out on the field. All right, DeSean Jackson is going to play week 1. And this is a huge factor here that I think a lot of people are going to kind of sleep on here. And this is why we truly love the Rams this season. Because obviously, Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford and all that. But DeSean Jackson, folks, I mean, we've got this nice, downfield fade, just go down. Just keep sprinting. Every single route for DeSean Jackson should just be the 50-yard go route. Go down, beat everybody everybody speed down the field. And, you have the big arm of Matthew Stafford throwing to the speedster of DeSean Jackson. I really think this kind of matchup, this hookup, this kind of wide receiver quarterback duo is truly going to be explosive this season. And it kind of went under the radar in this offseason heading up into the season, but I truly think this is going to be one of the best duos in the league come at the end of the year. Watch out for DeSean Jackson, and this is why the Rams are going to be absolutely great this season. If DeSean Jackson can kind of be in his prime form, let's get his age up. I do know he's a little bit older now, unfortunately, when he was playing, with the Eagles and all that. Obviously, we all know his, heroic punt return for a touchdown against the Giants. But let's get an actual age on him. Here we go. DeSean Jackson, here we go. 34, so a little bit aging out of this league a little bit. It's been in the league since 2008, but last year only had 236 yards, only played 5 games, only played 3 games in 2019, so his availability has been a little bit hobbled out here, unfortunately. But, if he can be in his prime form, we're talking about a great wide receiver quarterback combo, a great offense, an explosive offense that should have, the kind of foundation of a good wide receiver core, and that's, another big bonus here for this Rams team. I mean, we can look at their depth chart very quickly, but, DeShaun Watson's kind of like their number 3-4 option out here. Obviously, we have Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, and then they even have Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson listed above DeSean Jackson. Van Jefferson rookie last season, going into a second season here. He only had 220 yards, but a nice 6'1", could definitely, be better with Matthew Stafford at the helm. So DeSean Jackson just being the 4th option out here for the Rams, low risk, high reward here in that regard. So DeSean Jackson playing week 1, and, we'll see what he can do against his Bears defense. Hopefully, he kind of brings out old vibes of his kind of, heyday, his prime. So we'll see DeSean Jackson speeding all over the field today, and it's going to be great. All right, an out here for this week. Richie Incognito, the lineman for the Raiders, is going to be out come Monday. We'll see, how that affects the running game and the passing game. But, solid lineman out here, out for the Raiders. Richie Incognito is not going to be playing this week. Another big out right here is wide receiver for the Jets, Keelan Cole. He tweaked his knee in practice this week and is considered a true game time decision. So, it's going to get all the way up to kind of 1 o'clock before we know if he's going to be good to go or not. But this could be dangerous because we've said earlier in the week, Jamison Crowder, their number 2 wide receiver, is definitely out. And Keelan Cole is their number 3 wide receiver. So, you get Zach Wilson's first game going on the road here for week 1, and you have your number 2 and potentially number 3 wide receivers out and not available. So, you're going to have to go to Corey Davis even more. The defense is going to put more attention and more focus and more defensive players on Corey Davis because they're like, well, now we don't have to worry about their number 2 and number 3 wide receiver. Are we going to get beat by, number 4 wide receiver Elijah Moore, who's a rookie, or Braxton Berrios, who's nobody heard of, or Denzel Mims, who, I think he had like 300 yards last season. Yeah, 357. He is 6'3", so you definitely got to pay attention to him. But are we really going to kind of double any of those players? No, we'll single cover. We'll live and die by those players having success, and we'll take away Corey Davis. So potentially here, Zach Wilson may not be with his number 1 wide receiver Corey Davis because he's doubled and triple teamed, definitely freaking blanketed, covered the entire game. You don't have your number 2 wide receiver Jamison Crowder because he's out. You won't have number 3 wide receiver because Keelan Cole is out, and then you're relying on the running game of Tevin Coleman and the number 4, 5, 6 options here for this Jets team. So this could be a really not great start to the Jets kind of season. Zach Wilson's career, Robert Saleh's coaching career. So hopefully Keelan Cole can go by game time, but if not, Zach Wilson's going to be in for a tough day, game number 1, and we'll see what he can do with it. So not great here with Keelan Cole being a true game time decision. All right, some good news here. Chargers running back Austin Eckler impressed at practice yesterday and should be good to go today. little bit of a hamstring injury that's been nagging him kind of the last week, but he was good to go yesterday, and he should be good to go. Barring a setback, he'll be on the field despite missing practice on Wednesday and Thursday. So this is definitely going to help the Chargers overall. They are on the road, and we do believe in Austin Eckler, their starting running back, and a nice dual threat running back out of the backfield. So good news here for Chargers fans, Chargers players. Austin Eckler should be good to go. More ins this week. Wide receiver OBJ, folks, for the Browns, returning from the torn ACL, is slated to play today, assuming that there are no issues in the morning. Warming up, all of that seems good to go. Can run, all right, you're good to go. So OBJ returning from the ACL. We're going to be talking about Saquon Barkley. He should be good to go, returning from the ACL. Joe Burrow returning from the ACL, all good to go as well. So greatness here that those big time injuries from last season, the ACL tears that we know that kind of takes kind of a year to come back from 9 to 12 months, and all those players are in line to play week 1. So that's great that these star-studded players are returning from ACL injuries and not missing kind of a year and a half or a year and a couple of games. All right, 2020, unfortunate injury, couldn't play the entire year, but 2021, we are back and ready to prove that we are top of our positions. I mean, folks, these are some great players here. OBJ with the wide receivers, you could definitely say top 10 in this league. Saquon Barkley, running backs, can definitely say top 10 in this league. Joe Burrow at quarterback, obviously we can't say top 10 in the league, but emerging, only a rookie last season, he can definitely get to that point. So great that all these young star-studded players are coming decently quickly back from their ACL tears. All right, here we go. Broncos linebacker Bradley Chubb is a game-time decision and could decide his status after a pre-game workout. However, sources say they will be cautious and make sure Chubb is healthy for the final 16 games. Sitting week 1 may be a smarter move given his ankle isn't 100%. So we know this Broncos team, there is kind of, big expectations on this team. In the Broncos fans' mind, in the Broncos organization mind, they're kind of a quarterback plug-and-play away from being really good. Kind of, compare them to the Colts. I don't think everybody else besides the quarterback between the Colts and the Broncos are really kind of on the same level. I do think the Colts are an overall better team, but the Broncos, they are kind of a quarterback plug and play away. A little bit of a downgrade from the Colts, but still a plug and play quarterback away regardless. And is Teddy Bridgewater going to step up to that occasion? We hope so. But this Broncos team, not kind of, having the same Von Miller that they've had, in their prime in like 2015 and 16. Kind of not the greatest the last 2 seasons with the injuries and not being at kind of the top of his prime shape. So they don't want Bradley Chubb, another great linebacker here for the Broncos. If he's out and Von Miller's not kind of playing up to expectations, Bradley Chubb gets injured because he tries to push it here too quickly week 1. Then this Broncos defense falls apart, and now they have to rely on their offense, which they don't really want to do. They just kind of, have, Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. We know Teddy Bridgewater starting, but that's why they didn't go out and kind of draft the quarterback, because they're like, we just need our quarterbacks to be game managers. And if our defense isn't kind of, at the strength with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller and the rest of their pieces at the cornerback and safety positions, then, we have to go from having Teddy Bridgewater to being a game manager to him going out and kind of being an A1 tier 1 quarterback needed to win games consistently. So we'll see what they decide to do with Bradley Chubb. Let's see if we have any updated information on the man now that we are an hour and a half away from kickoff. Any update on Bradley Chubb? What do we got? Does not seem to appear to be anything going on with Bradley Chubb. So true game time decision here. We'll see if they push it with him or if they just kind of shut him down and play for week 2. A tough game for the Browns tonight on the road against the Chiefs. This is the Broncos. Broncos have I want to say a winnable game here. Let's see. Broncos go against the Giants tonight, 4:25. So, Giants is a winnable game with or without Bradley Chubb, still a winnable game. So we'll see what they do here. A little bit more time to decide since it's a 4:25 game. All right, more outs here. A couple more to go over here. Wide receiver for the Bills, Emmanuel Sanders, is questionable But he is expected to play today, listed as questionable, expected to play today, barring a setback. So that's definitely going to help the Bills and Josh Allen. We really think Emmanuel Sanders could be a great number 2 here for this Bills team. Stephon Diggs is so gosh dang good, draws all the attention from the number 1. Emmanuel Sanders has had a real solid career, Super Bowl ring with the Broncos, with Peyton Manning, him and Demaryius Thomas, a great duo over there. He went with the Saints last season. Unfortunate, they couldn't go that deep into the playoffs because, Drew Brees and his injuries and all that. And you run into Tom Brady in the playoffs. But Emmanuel Sanders could definitely kind of be back in that kind of, playoff mix and Super Bowl contenders mix, obviously, with this Bills team. And, we definitely want to see him out there and see what Josh Allen can do now that he's got 2 great wide receivers to kind of throw to. So Emmanuel Sanders should be good to go today. Here we go, the great news, the best news that we're talking about. Running back Saquon Barkley will play today versus the Broncos. Thank goodness, finally fully cleared by doctors following a strong week. That said, Barkley recovering from a torn ACL will be eased in and used sparingly. He'll get snaps, but the team won't put him at risk so early. So once again, we do have Saquon Barkley, but once again, still the slow start here. Kenny Galladay is still up in the air. We're not sure what's going on there. Him saying, hey, we're going to take it slowly. Evan Ingram, their tight end, not going today. So we have a running back, a tight end, and a running back. Some ins and outs there. But, if they are going to be playing, they are going to be played sparingly. They don't want to push anything. So watch out for this Giants offense still, once again, to get out to a slow start, even if, all the names are playing here. So we like to hear that Saquon Barkley's playing, but we don't like that it's always so slow, and it's always so, used sparingly, and it's not going to be that high-powered offense that we really can see this Giants becoming this year right out of the gate. So once again, folks, good news, and then hit immediately with the bad news here with the Giants, and I just don't think they're ready to go yet. They're just not ready to go yet. So give them another 4 weeks, and then we'll try to get back big on this Giants team, but hopefully they don't lose all these first 4 games and they can be competitive, because we want to see them be competitive, because they have stars all over the field offensively, and Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley and geez Louise. So once again, just not great here for the Giants early on in the season. Jeez, damn it. They're like the only team that's not 100% ready to go. What other team is like not 100% ready to go right now? So it's frustrating. We've been rooting for him, and it's not coming to fruition come week 1. Truly unfortunate. Alrighty, folks. Well, Richard Sherman has, officially not been signed. We know that, unfortunate. And this is going to be the first time All-Pro cornerback Richard Sherman will not be on an NFL field on opening day since 2010. Jeez, 10 seasons of Richard Sherman. And this season, unfortunately, at the start, no Richard Sherman. So nobody's picked him up yet. We know the Saints were looking at corners. They signed 2 right before the season, late this week, or early this week, late last week, however you want to call it. But Richard Sherman, man, unfortunate. So we'll see if he gets picked up at some point this season, but he's not going to be out there week 1, game 1. Unfortunate. And then, all right, one last kind of overview of players ruled out for today. Tight end Evan Ingram, wide receiver Jamison Crowder, defensive tackle Eddie Goldman, tight end Eric Fisher, cornerback Xavier Rhodes, quarterback DeShaun Watson, cornerback Lonnie Johnson, tackle Taylor Decker, safety Rodney McLeod, linebacker Anthony Barr, tackle Christian Darrisaw, cornerback Trey Waynes, defensive tackle Star Lutulue, wide receiver Traquan Smith. So some big names here that are kind of, big names for these teams. Evan Ingram for the Giants, and Jamison Crowder for the Jets, like we've talked about, and Xavier Rhodes for the Colts, and Anthony Barr, he's still on the Vikings, no? Let me get that up. Is Anthony Barr still on the Vikings? I'm almost positive. Yeah, still on the Vikings. So, Look at that man go. So unfortunately, he's not going to be out there. So some big names offensively, defensively for some solid teams that should be winning. We'll see if that affects them, and we'll see if these big teams with these big names are still winning and still getting it done without some of their bigger names on offense and defense. So some good ins, but some also good outs. Classic NFL week, kicking off week 1 with, not everybody ready to rock just out of the gate just quite yet, and some players still waiting maybe till week 2 to be back 100%. So that's all the ins and outs here that we know of, and COVID is not playing a big role come week 1. So that's definitely the best news of today. All right, so for the remainder of the show, now that we've got that all out of the way and talked about, let's just kind of get our final thoughts and picks and kind of remind y'all what our picks were, and we'll look at the lines. So let's just start talking about these games. Week 1 today, the 1s, the 4s, the 8s, the late game, all eyes on us, 1 game. So let's refresh these odds here at DraftKings. Are they going to load for us or not? I'm going to have to bring them up on something else, unfortunate. Alrighty. But let's talk about week 1 then. In these lines, let me get up this. Let me get up some visual on here, if we can. Maybe we can't. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. Here we go, the matchups, the lines. Let's talk about the lines. Have they moved at all? Hopefully they haven't. And if they have, we'll see what happens. So let's review our picks that we've got going into today. So our locks are Dolphins plus 3.5. And I swear to gosh, if that line moved up to Dolphins plus 4, I have to absolutely go down to Vegas right now and slap Vegas. I must slap Vegas for being so disrespectful to that Dolphins team. But we've got Dolphins plus 3.5, 49ers minus 8, Vikings minus 3 in our locks. In our 99% guarantees, we got Steelers plus 6.5, Panthers minus 4, and Raiders plus 3.5. Let's see if any line has changed so far. Is this DraftKings coming back up to load? Oh, they might be coming back up to load on our screen. Oh, look at that. Fantastic. Just had to, take a couple seconds to itself. So here we go. Jets, Panthers. Panthers fell down to -4 to -3.5. So a lot of people are taking the Jets plus the points right there at +4. That's not bad value. But once again, like we've been talking about all week long, the Jets are not going to have their full arsenal of wide receivers. And that's definitely going to hinder a rookie quarterback on the road, no doubt. So we still like our Panthers -4 pick, and now you can get it -3.5 with better odds. All right, we get Steelers and Bills, and the Steelers, this spread has come down by 0.5 point as well. Steelers +6 only, and once again, we got that +6.5, that nice 0.5 point hook, but that tells us that everybody's betting the Steelers because that was really solid value, and how can you not take the points here in what should be a competitive game? How can you not? And we're going to look at what happened last season at week 1 and what our picks were in a second, and just kind of say, maybe is our thinking on, par, and, what we saw last year, is it going to happen again, and what happened last year? So we're going to talk about that in a second, but 2 great teams going against each other. I mean, how can you not take all those points? 49ers Lions, this is now up to 49ers -9. We've locked it in at 49ers -8, so everybody is just betting this 49ers team, and once again, why not? This is the Lions team. You can't buy this Lions team week 1. Jaguars Texans still at +3.5, I believe. I believe that's what it was when it opened. We get Colts Seahawks. Colts at +3. I think that was at like +2.5, so I think this rose a little bit. Cardinals Titans. Cardinals +3. Titans +3. I think still right around. It may have been at -3.5, +3.5, but now still settling at +-3. Chargers Washington -2.5. Then we get the Vikings and the Bengals. Vikings -3. It's still at -3 like we have it in our lock section, so we're still big on that pick. Eagles Falcons -3.5, and once again it's been hovering around -3, -3.5 all week, and it's still at -3.5. Dolphins Patriots is still at Dolphins +3.5, so thank goodness. This really should not be what the spread is, but we'll take advantage with the great value there, no worries. Browns Chiefs +4.5, Chiefs -4.5. Packers Saints -3.5, Saints +3.5. Once again, remember, no home team in this game, so Packers -3.5 seems like great value. I just really want to see what Jameis Winston can do here week 1. This is why we're kind of staying away from it, or I really was this close to putting this kind of in our 99% guarantees, the Packers -3.5. We'll see what Aaron Rodgers can do week 1. Broncos, Giants. Broncos -2.5. Giants +2.5. Giants at home. I just can't get behind this Giants team, unfortunately. Nothing kind of positive coming out of that kind of team and organization, and everything just kind of gearing up to tempering down expectations. I don't know what the hell that's all about. That doesn't impress me. We get Bears, Rams, Bears +8.5. What did this one start at? I feel like this one's been climbing all week long, and rightfully so, because they've got Andy Dalton. There's no way this man can win the game. No way. So let me see. What did this one start at? This one opened up at Rams -7, and now here we are at Rams -8.5. So, man, oh man, Matt Nagy, you better hope you made the right decision, or we're going to be on your ass all season long. We've had no problem doing that. And then the last game of the week, the Raiders and the Ravens, and this one is at Raiders +4, and this is what we've had it at as well. Raiders, oh no, we actually locked it in at Raiders +3.5, so you actually get a little bit better value with the Raiders +4, depending when you locked it in. So no spread has been changing that much, and that's kind of, we can expect a half a point, fluctuation here right before kickoff. So, everything that we've said still stands. No spread has kind of gone too out of whack where we have to kind of go on the opposite side and retool our thinking. So our locks and 99% guarantees are still standing. No excuses come the end of Sunday. Our picks are what they are. We stand behind them. We bet them, and we give y'all no kind of false or wrong thinking information. So, all right. So now that our picks are still solidified here, I just want to quickly see what happened last season on week 1. Are we going to fall into like the same traps that we saw in week 1 last season compared to this season and all of that? So let's take a quick look at what happened week 1. Did everything that should have happened week 1 happen? Did all kind of the better home team win? Did kind of some road teams upset if they were just purely better or anything like that? So our picks last year, we had Eagles -5.5. Okay. Now, this Eagles team last season faced Washington, and they ended up losing by 10. So we missed the mark on that Eagles -5.5 pick. Chase Young impressed us more. And the Eagles, Carson Wentz, we know this was the beginning of the end for his career, or his time in Philadelphia. So, all right, Carson Wentz didn't step up to the plate, and he burned us week 1 last season. We're not betting him week 1 this year, but we have big faith and believability and buyability into him this year. We do have the Colts winning the Super Bowl. Tough opponent this week with the Seahawks, so we are kind of staying away from it, though. All right, so we missed that pick. All right, what else we had? We had Bears +2.5 last season. They were facing the Lions, and they were on the road. And once again, we don't like this Lions team, so we had no trouble doing that. And look at that. The Bears win by 4 points, and we had them +2.5. So once again, that's great. 49ers facing this Lions team on the road, just like the Bears were facing them on the road. Bears won by 4. I can definitely see the 49ers winning by 8. I would say that this 49ers team at full strength is at least 4 points better than what the Bears were last season with Mitch Trubisky at the helm to start week 1. So we're confident on our 49ers pick still. All right, we took the Chargers -2.5. Remember, Tyrod Taylor did play week 1. It was week 2 where everything kind of went wonky. And the Chargers won on the road 16-13. And we had them -2.5. They win by 3. We hit that one. Bingo, bango. Once again, Bengals at home. And we're taking the Vikings -3. So same kind of situation here. We believe the Vikings are better. Bengals get out to a slow start like week 1 last season. And we're saying the same thing happens this year. Alrighty, then we had the Cardinals +6.5, and they were facing the 49ers, and that was great. That was great value because the Cardinals win outright, and we had them +6.5. So once again, kind of the Steelers, 2 great teams here. Week 1, Cardinals, 49ers. Yes, Cardinals on the road, but we're still getting 6.5 points. And same thing with the Steelers, Bills, 2 great teams, but we're getting Steelers +6.5. It doesn't matter that the Steelers are on the road. Cardinals were on the road, and they won outright. Bills, Steelers should be a great game. That's why we have to take all those points with Pittsburgh. We still stand behind that pick. Then we had Packers plus 2.5. It's Aaron Rodgers week 1. What did he do? He absolutely obliterated the Vikings, put up 43 points, but the Vikings still put up 34 points. It's just unfortunate that they faced the Packers week 1 who have Aaron Rodgers. So once again, we like the Vikings this week. They put up a lot of points week 1 last season. We believe the offense can get out to the same start. Luckily, they don't have to face Aaron Rodgers. They have to face Joe Burrow coming off the injury. And, so we still stand behind our Vikings -3 pick. All right, then again, last season, our last pick was Patriots. No, we had Dolphins +7. I just wrote it down wrong. We had Dolphins +7. Now, they did lose by 10, but that was with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he threw multiple interceptions. I want to say he threw 2 picks in this game against the Patriots. Now, week 1 this season, same kind of circumstances. Dolphins on the road at the Patriots. Dolphins underdogs. They're getting 3.5 points. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the +7 we did last season, so Vegas was kind of disrespecting this Dolphins team twice in a row, 2 years in a row. Unfortunately for us, Vegas got reassured last season because the Dolphins lost by 10 when they were 7-point underdogs. Now this season, same circumstance, but they're only 3.5-point underdogs, and we're definitely taking that. We think Tua doesn't make all these mistakes that Ryan Fitzpatrick did, and we don't think Mac Jones really gets out to any solid start here. So overall, compared to last season, we did pretty solid on our picks. We went 3 for 3 officially. No, we went 4 and 2. Four hits, 2 losses, unfortunately, and we're expecting to go 6 for 6. Having this entire offseason to prepare and comparing it to last season and all that. And then finally, I just kind of want to take a full look at all these games and seeing if exactly what should have happened, or if there were any big upsets last season week 1. So first game was the Thursday night game, Texans Chiefs, and Chiefs blow them out by 14. Compared to this Thursday night game, this year's Thursday night game, where it was a little bit more competitive. We had Seahawks at the Falcons, and the Seahawks come and win on the road. Unfortunate for the Falcons there, so hopefully they have a little bit of a better kind of week 1 performance out here. Browns, Ravens. Ravens absolutely blow out the Browns, and that's kind of what was expected to happen early on in the season, but we know the Browns are a little bit of a new team out here. Jets at Bills, and the Bills beat them by 10. So once again, Bills only beat the Jets by 10 last season. It was Josh Allen. We never really knew he was going to be great. This is really when he started to emerge week 1. But he only beat the Jets by 10. Now he's got the Steelers here week 1. You're telling me they're going to beat them by more than 10? I don't know, folks. I don't know. Then we had the Raiders at the Panthers, and the Panthers kept it close, but the Raiders win. Once again, why we like the Raiders here this week? Because they're usually pretty solid in the beginning. Now they're at home against the Ravens. We love it. Bears, Lions, we've already talked about. Colts, Jags, and this was a little bit of an upset here. Jaguars really shouldn't have won that game. Colts with Phillip Rivers, they lose by 7. So Colts potentially get out to another slow start here. We'll see what Carson Wentz can do. And they have a tougher opponent in Seattle, so that's why we really kind of overall stayed away from the Colts. Packers, Vikings, we already talked about. Dolphins, Patriots, we talked about. Eagles, Washington, we talked about. Chargers, Bengals, we talked about. Bucks, Saints. Now, this is kind of predictable because, Tom Brady got out to a slow start and nobody was really expecting him to kind of, learn the team, a new playbook, a new style without an offseason all by week 1. So the Saints with Drew Brees win week 1. Different circumstances this year with the Saints with no Michael Thomas and obviously no Drew Brees and no home field advantage and all that. So that's kind of why we stayed away from the Saints. But, Packers -3.5 or -2.5, whatever it is. Still some solid value. I think it is 3.5. All right, Cardinals, 49ers, we talked about. Cowboys, Rams in another close game here by the Cowboys week 1. They only lose by 3. They lost by 2 on Thursday. So Rams win their first game here at home, and we believe the same with an easier opponent in Chicago. Steelers, Giants, and Steelers win by 10 week 1. Remember, they got out to a hot start, 10-0, 11-0 to start the season last season, and they got out to a hot start on the road against the Giants. So once again, giving credit to our pick tonight of the Steelers +6.5. And then the Monday night game, Titans at the Broncos, and the Titans win by 2. So expect a close Monday night football team, Monday night game coming up tomorrow. Titans won it last season on the road, so maybe the Ravens can, but we're getting 4. We're getting 3.5, 4, however, whatever you locked it in at with the Raiders, and the Broncos only lost by 2, so some decent credit there. Alrighty, folks, that's going to do it for us today. We've got football to watch. Y'all got football to watch. It's an entire day. It's an event. Go and take it. You deserve it. You deserve to do nothing but besides watch football, and that's exactly what we are going to do, and we'll break it all down tomorrow live on the show after everything that we saw today. So let's just quickly before we get out of here, any other last second breaking news that we have to talk about? Keelan Cole is officially out. So man, oh man, this is tough. Emmanuel Sanders, Austin Eckler are all good to go officially. So the Jets, man, the Jets, I would definitely fade the Jets right now. Fade the Jets. Take the Panthers -3.5. That's great value. Do not fall sucker to the points here with the Jets. I think their offense struggles a little bit out there. And, you know, especially when you got Sam Darnold, the revenge game, dink and dunk to Christian McCaffrey, all those wide receivers that were good with Teddy Bridgewater returning. They get it done tonight, folks, today. I cannot put any faith and viability into the Jets, unfortunately, with all these wide receivers out. I would say that's probably the best bet of the week. The best bet of the week, Panthers -3.5. I like the Jets, and I want to buy the Jets, and I want to bet the Jets sometime this season. I just can't do it week one. Panthers -3.5 with all these receivers out for the Jets is the best bet of the week, folks. Bet it, hammer it, bet every single cent that you have available to you. Panthers -3.5, best bet of the week, folks. Win it, bet it, retire early, do it. Alrighty, that is going to do it for us today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're back tomorrow doing it all again. And come tomorrow, the NFL season of Takes by Fans officially kicks off, where we have Monday breakdown. Tuesday, we kind of, talk about like a cash or trash list. We'll reorder our quarterback rankings. We'll start our tight end power rankings as well. And we'll just talk about all that through. Then come Wednesday, on our Wednesday film study, looking at every single game or the interesting parts of every single game and seeing where it went right, seeing where it went wrong, telling you what you should be looking for. That's all on Wednesday. Then comes Thursday, guessing and reacting to the lines. Then come Friday, our official picks. Then Saturday, just kind of a refresh show. Sunday, another kind of refresh show, just talking about what is happening, maybe some special segments those days. But that's our NFL season, our NFL schedule in a nutshell during the NFL season, folks. That's our show schedule during the NFL season. So get prepared for it. I can't wait to jump right back into the swing of it. Oh man, it's going to be great, folks. So here we are. We've made it an hour away from kickoff. Go enjoy your Sunday. We will, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Don't get too crazy, because I still want to see y'all tomorrow. Don't think I don't see y'all. I see y'all. Y'all see me. I see y'all. We get it. Alrighty, folks. Enjoy your day. Y'all know we will.